What's going on, fishing buddies? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you how I switch things up as far as rigging and tackle for fall surf fishing. Let's get it out there. All right, guys, let's start with the gear, the rods and the reels. There are some differences I use for fall fishing because of the species that are out there. The reels I adjust and the rigging. Y'all have seen me use this before. Two identical 12-foot Frisky Fin Customs with the 5000 series reels. When I had Frisky make these for me, I wanted something to double for pompano fishing and for big boy fishing. You know, I didn't want a bunch of different rods that I'm switching out reels, switching out lines. I just needed something to kind of do both year round, and this is what he came up with. These are on Ninja Tackle blanks. These are great rods for pompano. I'm able to get the baits far out there. Over the first sandbar here in Perdido, now the sandbars are different, but here in Perdido, I can get this over the first sandbar without having to wade out. During the fall, what I'm doing is I'm using the same rod, same reel, but I'm beefing up the line. Because for pompano fishing, I'm running 20-pound braid. Now, during the fall, you got the bulls running, you got a lot of black drum out there, so I will target those just for fun. They're fun to hook up on. So what I'll do is I'll beef up, not much, but I'll go to 30-pound braid on this. And of course, my rigs are different. I'm gonna show you the rigs now. What I have tied on, both those 12-footers, are the K-Pomp's big game rigs. K-Pomp's Pompano rigs does some spectacular pompano rigs. I love them, but I specifically use his big game rigs. That's what I'm using with K-Pomp's. I'm a fan of Frisky Fins. I always have been, so I stick to those because I know them. Not that they're better, not that they're worse, but I just know them. You know, different rig makers will make their rigs with different lengths, different style hooks, things like that. I'm used to Friskies, so I stick with it. These K-Pomp's big game rigs, they are a slider style rig. You can see it has this slider on it with the weight attachment. This will move this around in the surf a bit. To kind of keep it moving, it's not just like your regular set rig where it's anchored off with your Spudnik and it's just sitting there. This guy, the weight's gonna go on here. I'm gonna show you how to do it in a minute, and it'll slide it around. Your bait will be on here. It will give it a little bit of movement, is what you want when you're looking for those big boys. You want this guy to move around a little bit. You're gonna attach your swivel to your main line, and then on this slide with the weight attachment, I use pyramids. You can use Spudniks. I want it to move around a little bit, and those Spudniks are gonna hold. So I'll use pyramids. You get your pyramid on here. And then K-Pomp's will do a size 3, sometimes size 4 circle hook. That's what I request. You can go bigger, you can go smaller. I request 3s and 4s. That's what works for me. And you'll put your bait, cut bait, fish bites, whatever, on here. And so there is your big game slider rig. This is what I'm using for fall fishing. He has reinforced this so much with this twist that I'll get sharks on here and it won't bite through. And this is a lot better than using wire. Wire works great. When you're fishing for sharks and things like that, which I don't target sharks, I hook up on them a lot though. So they were biting through my lines, and this was a concern I had. And I went to Corey, the creator of K-Pomps, and I was like, man, I need something that's not gonna bite me off every time a shark gets on there. And he started making these, and I love them, and I can't get enough of them. Second setup, another Frisky Fin 12 footer, exactly the same with the 5000 series reel. Again, all I'm gonna do is take this 20 off and beef it up to 30. It does have a K-Pomps already tied on. This is an example of a bigger hook with the K-Pomps. Again, he can do whatever you want. I was using these bigger hooks for a while. Didn't need them for what I was targeting, so I dropped back down to the smaller ones, but they work great. With the reinforced line, this guy is ready to go. So these are my 2 fall fishing setups that I beef up a bit. And when I say beef up, I'm just talking about the line and the rig. Third setup, my standard Pompano rod. I'm not changing this one bit. I'm keeping the same line. I'm keeping the same rigs. These are 10 footers. I am in the market to bump these. I got 2 10 footers, 2 identical 10 footers. I am in the market. I'm gonna bump these up to 11s. I'm looking at some rods now. Once I get those rods, I'll do a review on them and explain why I've bumped up to 11, but these work great. So at this point, what I will have is I got my 2 Frisky Fins, the big game rods is what I call them during the fall, because I'm targeting reds, I'm targeting drum with those. And I still have 2 pompano setups in the water too, because the fall run of pompano, and you will catch pompano year round, resident pompanos. So I always have 2 rods with me for pompano for that reason. I like personally the fall, I like the pink and white. I don't know what it is. I like the pink and white colors for the fall. Frisky makes a great version. Other rig makers make great versions. But I kind of, when I'm leaving the house or when I'm setting up the night before to go fishing, I'll tie some pink and whites on here so I'm ready to go. With this 5th rod, you can go a lot of different ways. I know a lot of guys in my area use the beefier rods for this. They use a heavy rod, a heavy reel, because it's effective, because you are gonna hook up on some beasts out there. The jacks, the drums, you know, there's big stuff out there to hook up while casting. This is my caster, that's what I call it. Personally, when I'm throwing pompano jigs, when I'm throwing spoons, when I'm doing stuff like that, I get tired if I got a big beefy setup. This is what I use, and it does have its pros and cons, and I'll go over it now. The pros with this is an 8-foot Cajun Hellebomb. It is super light. It can hold up to a 2-ounce lure, so I can sling 2 ounces out there fine. I got it paired with a 4,000 pin. I got 20-pound braid on it. This thing launches, y'all. You can throw poppers, big spoons, big pomp jigs. It will get it out there, and it's so light that I can work it for a long time. I get into those 10 footers with those 5000 series reels. The benefit of those is you have a lot better chance of pulling your fish in on the beach because they just have more power. The disadvantage of that for me is I get tired of throwing it. My arms get tired and I just don't want to throw it, and I stick it back in the cart and I rarely use it. So I found this one. I love it. I can sling it. The disadvantage with this is when you do hook up on something big, the rod is fine. I got plenty of backbone on this rod. I trust this rod. It's the reel that's a little tricky. Basically, I just have to let the drag loose and tire that fish out. I can't horse him in. I can't horse him in with this guy. It's just not gonna work. This is a great reel, but not for something huge. So again, I'll just play with him, let him tire out, tighten a little bit, get some leverage on him, let him tire out, and you know, it takes me a lot longer to get it to the beach. But this is what I'm throwing spoons, jigs. This is a great little setup, light, it's not gonna wear you out, and you wanna take this every time you go in the fall. I'm gonna circle back to the big boy rigs. I forgot to mention something. This is the advantage of getting in with your local tackle shop. Walmart is great. Those big box stores are great. You tend to get things a little bit cheaper, but you don't have that personal touch like you do with your local bait and tackle. Get in with your local bait and tackle. They are just an information center. You form a relationship with the owners, and you can do things like this. The braid I have on here, it's still good. Like, I don't want to get rid of it, but I want to bump it up. So I take it to my buddy Clint at Lost Key. I've formed a relationship with him over time. So he'll take this off for me. I'll save it, and he'll put the new braid on. And then when the pumps start running again in the spring, I want to switch it out, and I still got my braid. And I'll take it back to Clint, and he'll put it back on, and I'll save my 30 pound at that point if it's still good. And you can switch it in and out. Local tackle shop, guys. With that casting rod, for Pompano specifically, I like to bump it up to these 1 ounce Pompano jigs. Frisky Fins makes these. He has a bunch of different colors. I have a few here. The fall pink and white. I have the orange, this kind of white, this white color here. These are 1 ounce, so these are pretty heavy, but again, with that Cajun Hellebomb, it holds up to 2 ounces, and I can sling that thing. And with Pompano jigs, you are working. You're popping, reel, and you do that for about 10-15 minutes with a heavy setup, you're gonna feel it. It's not gonna be fun, you know? So that's what I'm throwing for Pompano out there, for fall Pompano. I got my 2 set rigs in, and while I'm waiting for a bite, I'll throw these pomp jigs around, especially around structure by jetties and things like that. These are excellent, excellent. Frisky Fins, you can get these. I'll show you one I have rigged up already. This is a smaller pomp jig, but I already had it rigged up. So what I'm doing is that's gonna be the end, and I'll tie a little loop and put a teaser on it. They'll all come with teasers when you order. Frisky will send you some teasers also. So you kind of just pick your color, tie a little loop, and I put that teaser, and then the tag into your main line. So that teaser is what those pomps are gonna hit 90% of the time. It's acting up as you're popping it. This thing is acting up and going crazy. And Blake Hunter from the Real 30A said it best. He's like, it just pisses them off. It's like, so they attack it. So that's how it looks rigged up. There's multiple different ways to do this too, guys. You know, you can look online, look on YouTube. You'll find plenty of videos on how to do the teaser with the pomp jig. Other than just my typical spoons and poppers, those pomp jigs are something I adjust in the fall, and I start throwing fight clubs out there. Paddle tails, curly tails, the little shrimp. I'll put these again on a heavier jig head, maybe like a 1/2 ounce, so I can really get it out there and work these, because you'll be surprised those big bull reds will hit these. So that little white shrimp, they'll destroy it. So what a great hookup on a cast with your light action rod with a shrimp in the surf, beach fishing, and you hook up on a bull red. I mean, it is one thing to hook up on them on the set rig, but when you're casting at them and hook up, that's a whole different ball game. Another thing I'm gonna have with me every trip to the surf is the 6-foot cast net. This is something I don't usually bring through the summer or anything. I probably should, but I don't. But there is just so much mullet and bait fish out there that is really very accessible from the beach. You might have to wait out a bit, but you can, I mean, there's so much out there going on right now. So this is the bait that I'll use for those K-Pomp's big game rigs. Cut mullet, whatever kind of little baitfish, pinfish, all that. That's what you want to put on those hooks. I'll tip it with Fishbites sometimes if I'm not getting a bite. That tends to speed up the process. Happened to me a few weekends ago. I was down. I had 3 lines in with all cut mullet on it. I couldn't get a bite. I put some pink shrimp flavored fish bites on one, and bam, hooked in a big old drum. So that cast net is gonna save you money, for one thing. It'll give you something to do. I'm not the best at throwing it, but the more I do it, the more I'm figuring it out. And it's just a great feeling to be able to catch your own bait right there on the beach, get it in, cut it up for some cut bait, get some lines out, and then hook a big bull on it. Now, the single most important thing I could suggest for the fall, moving into winter, something I did not have last year, and it greatly slowed down my fishing. Every time I went out there, I was like, I need this item, and I just never got it. And this past summer in August, I ran across them, and it reminded me, and I was like, I got to get those for the fall winter. So let me show you now. The waders. I was missing the waders last year, and it would hinder me because the water starts getting a little cold, y'all. Y'all know that. And a lot of times I would have socks on and shoes. I didn't want to take that off to wade out. And I was like, I gotta have some waders. This is gonna greatly increase your fishing. I went with a fly fishing style wader because they're light. I got these for like $100. The brand is White River fly style, or what these call. $100. They got the boots with them already. This is gonna keep me dry, guys. If I gotta get out there, if I'm releasing one of those big bowls, that's another thought that came to my mind, is like, I don't even want to get wet to do that. It's cold. We're Florida boys. We don't like any kind of cold. So with the waders, you can release those fish a lot better, a lot safer. You can wade out more, especially with those pompano jigs. Maybe I want to get a little deeper. You know, I can get out there and get it over that first sandbar with that 8-foot rod. If I have the waders, is going right over my clothes. I don't have to keep them on the whole time. Just kind of have them with me. And I'm gonna put mine in the bucket, basically, to be able to, for like easy transport, have them in the cart, have my waders stuffed down in the bucket, throw my casting on top of that, and I'm transporting them easy. Gotta have the waders, guys. That's it, guys. These are the adjustments I make going into fall, eventually going into winter. And not much will change during the winter. I'll be on the kayak a lot during the winter also, but as far as surf fishing, once I switch everything over to the fall gear, it'll stay like that until the spring run. So this didn't come overnight for me. There was a lot of questions I asked around the tackle shops, the Facebook forums, and I kind of got an idea of how to move into this fall season. A lot better prepared than I was last season. The waders are key. If you don't take any other suggestion, get some waders. You're gonna need them. Guys, if you're enjoying the videos, please hit me a like, hit me a subscribe. It really helps out the rhythm of the channel. I'm approaching 1,000 subscribers. I would love to hit that mark before the end of the year. So if you're already subscribed, thank you very much. If you haven't subscribed and you're finding value in my content, please hit me a subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything, just helps me out. Till next time, guys.